Next, we will move on to Mr. Meik Billmann, who is the CEO of IDTA, which stands for Industrial Digital Twin Association. And I believe that not only German companies, but also all the companies around the world can join this association. So Mr. Meik Billmann will introduce the IDTA.
Good afternoon to Korea. It's a big honor to be here today with you. Thank you for the close cooperation in the past few months. I heard the first or the last forum, joint Korean-German forum, was in October 2020. Our organization, the Industrial Digital Twin Association, did not really exist at that time. We were founded in September, so we existed on paper, but our operation started in April last year. I'm the general manager of the Industrial Digital Twin Association. My name is Meik Billmann, and I would like to introduce our association and our activity, especially with a focus on our joint activity together with our great colleagues from Korea. I was really impressed what Dr. Song just presented, impressed about the deep knowledge about the AES. Because we are convinced that we need to build joint forces to have a standardized digital twin across the globe. And we think the asset administration shell is the perfect foundation for this digital twin. So we are really happy to see those projects in Korea. Looking at our membership, we started with 23 members. Last year, we are today 60 members, and we were really happy that our first international members were from Korea. It was LS Electric and at Nestfield. Looking at the overall structure of our members, it's really good to see that we have a lot of suppliers, but also machine builders, software companies, and also end users. Our biggest end user, for example, is Volkswagen. So this is great to see, because I'm going to show this on my further slides. We need to have the whole value chain within the development of the digital twin for the industry. From our background, we started in platform industry 4.0 like 10 years ago. I have this on the next slide. And historically, the automation companies were really strong in developing asset administration shell and RAMI the last, let's say, 10 years. So what you see is that especially the large automation companies are very present on this slide deck of our members. But what we are starting to collect a lot of software companies, which is really important, because basically we are talking about software in addition to all the hardware and automation equipment. Looking at the evolution of Industry 4.0, we see that we started already in 2011 with the foundation of the platform Industry 4.0. The concept of asset administration shell was introduced in 2015. And in 2020, the industrial implementation of the asset administration shell started. So we saw the first demonstrator, we saw the first really live applications running in companies. At that time, Platform Industry 4.0 discussed that we need an organization, something like a user organization for the asset administration shell, since platform is run by the government. We were discussing now we need this kind of user organization to have, especially the topic of the asset administration shell within one, concentrated with one company or one association. And this was the idea to create IDTA as a user organization for the asset administration shell. So you know it from, for example, OPC UA. You have the OPC Foundation, which is the user organization for OPC UA. And the same is IDTA for the asset administration shell nowadays. What's the target of organization? our target is to build a global community. That's why it's really important for us, and we are really happy to have the companies from Korea on board. We are working, of course, on different companies to have them in our membership. But what we want to do is to build the global community around an international standard. So the asset administration share, you already know that, is standardized in IEC. So we are in the process of having an international standard, and we are in the process of building the global community around it. Second target is to have open source software, to have this software and every resource is available for all companies across the world, regardless of their size. So we are also really happy to have the first Korean projects integrated in our open source platform, which is really great. Again, Korea is the first the first international member who's integrating his projects on our open source platform. We also want to give open access to the information models. So we are building, just last week, we started to have an open catalog of our information models on our website. I'm sure there are going to be also Korean information models. We already discussed this around these use cases, which Dr. Song has shown us. And we want to have market access through matching use cases. This is also something Dr. Song already represented. We are working together with Labs Network Industry 4.0 to have those matching use cases to bring AAS into the shop floor. Just yesterday, we discussed to have further demos, and the inspiration was the asset-based pilot plant from Korea for that. The colleagues of Volkswagen were starting discussions with us, and they said, oh, we want to have also a AAS-based pilot plant at Volkswagen. So this is great news to have something like this, what you already have in Korea, in the future also in Germany. Last thing, we want to create a training, and we are already discussing having exchange on the training with the Korean colleagues. We have built out a training program, and there's also a Korean training program. We just exchanged our contents, and I'm sure we're going to have a close exchange on that level in the future as well. The AAS as the enabler for the digital twin. I'm going to have a short excursion into the technology. What's so special about the AAS? Looking into the market today, we have a lot of digital twins. You have application-specific digital twin. You have high performative digital twins on certain aspects of the life cycle. What's really new with asset administration shell to have an efficient, standardized digital twin over the complete life cycle of products and productions. So this is really the revolutionary step we are taking with the asset administration shell nowadays. What's the content for this kind of digital twin? The idea is to have it over the complete life cycle, meaning it begins with engineering. The first 3D models, the first drawings of products go directly into the asset administration shell as the digital twin. You can run simulations. You can have all the properties about your product integrated into the digital twin, which exists before the product even exists. Second thing where we see huge impact is having all the documentations, all the certifications, all the information somebody needs to run a product or a production available digitally, which is nowadays really important and an impact on sustainability, because you don't need all the documentation on paper, which is, for example, in Germany nowadays, or in Europe nowadays, a regulation topic. And of course, the digital twin has a huge role in operations. Means we are able to put live data from the production floor, for example, via OPC UA, right into the AAS, and we are sure that this combination of having engineering data, documentation, operation data in the structure of one digital twin is really the revolution, can make the big difference for production of the future. We're talking about the life cycle, but also the integration, the vertical integration in a production, meaning device manufacturing, delivering their digital twin to OEMs, delivering their digital twin to end users, will make a big impact. So value creation, efficiency, and cost savings are reached within the value chain by exchanging and integrating all products along the value chain. And AAS is making this possible. What's the projects, the developments for today? We already have seen the package for Dr. Song presented this one, and this stands as a symbol how we are working. This is open source software. We put this open source software just now on our top level project on Eclipse Foundation. We have initiated the Eclipse digital twin top level product in the Eclipse Foundation. We are running our own GitHub open source repository. You can think about it like this. Eclipse Foundation is for future industry-ready projects. Our GitHub repository is for the information models and experimental projects around the AAS. So we are really happy. I already mentioned it, that we have the first Korean project in our GitHub today. On the other side, we are trying to integrate all existing standards. So we are not trying to define the world new, but we are using all existing standards, automation ML, E-class, OPCOA, to mention just a few of them. We are working on the integration of all these standards. So for example, E-class is a really important repository for the properties, but also IC/CDD, for example. OPCOA, of course, as the architecture of the production floor, is a really important standard to be integrated in the future seamlessly into or with the administration shell. From use cases to information model, for us, it's really important that we are discussing about use cases and developing from the use case towards the standard. So we have started to have top 10 use cases. We have 3 clusters for these use cases: global impact, smart manufacturing, and asset compatibility. Within global impact, we try to present, or we are presenting that the asset administration shell can be a huge step towards sustainability. I already mentioned the digitizing documentation, but also for traceability, transparency, and decarbonization. So we're working on projects where we can show, for example, that you can integrate all the information about a product, meaning the different components of a product, the materials of a product, into asset administration shell, and using these information, for example, for the recycling of a product. If you exactly know what's inside the product, you can the recycling process can be much more efficient to get these materials back from existing products, recycled products. And also decarbonization. We are working on a project which is called product carbon footprint, where we are presenting how AAS can be used to track decarbonization along the value chain, meaning from a screw, from the iron of a screw towards a control cabinet, and how you can track all the different footprints of all the components going into a control cabinet, having the carbon footprint of the whole cabinet. Another good example is the energy monitoring of a production, which we are hope to present on the Hannover show in June, showing that how the AS helps to have a general energy monitoring on a production plant of Volkswagen, for example. Going to smart manufacturing, these use cases are presenting how the AS supports advanced manufacturing, product as a service, and high performance time to market reduction. And our use cases on asset compatibility are presenting the opportunities you get with AAS to have interoperable products. We have great use cases there from where we started, where we were discussing how is it possible to make plug and produce for sensors for drives, and we have great demonstrators there. Also will be presented on the Hannover show. Looking at the real use cases behind, we have on our cluster a global impact, the digital nameplate, product carbon footprint, collaborative condition monitoring. Gaia X is playing a big role in this use case as well. On smart manufacturing, we have real life examples, and we're happy again to have the Korean AS-based pilot plant there. Was an inspiration for the colleagues of Volkswagen. As I already mentioned, we have a real life application at Wittgenstein, a small middle-sized company in Germany for beers and drives. We have Lenses asset management, a drive manufacturer, Stahl, a digital nameplate, and really interesting applications for the nameplate in process industry from the colleagues at Stahl. On asset compatibility, we have the use case asset onboarding, open industry for those sensors, and the drive demonstrator showing different scenarios made possible by the combination of OPC UA and the asset administration share. Coming from these use cases, we are creating the needed information models called submodels for these use cases. So this is the idea, having the use case from the use case to the standard. We are defining right now 16 submodels. You can see the list of these submodels on our webpage. IDTA is offering this agile platform to bring in all these submodels to make them public. And we guarantee within our process, which I'm going to show on the next slide, a certain quality certification for these submodels. So submodels from IDTA getting into a quality process where we certify and guarantee that these submodels fit with each other and fit within AAS. So maybe as a vision, we are talking about a digital product passport, which is right now within the European regulations, and maybe a vision how AAS can develop in the future. I was talking about the process. Just for your knowledge, we have set up a process how information models are introduced into IDTA, how we set up working groups, how to work on these submodels. It's kind of a standardization process we have here, and how we publish these submodels. As I said, we publish everything open and for free on our open source platform on GitHub, so everybody can use it. So we need to lower the barrier for using AAS and having the matching submodels available. AAS training, real quick. We have established a training program. We went to the expert, the colleagues who work in our groups, like Dr. Song might know some of these people. We went to our expert, for example, to ABB, to Festo, Bosch, and SAP. We made interviews. We asked them, can you provide your knowledge in our training program? And we have set up a 2-track training program, and we are happy to work on a joint training program in the future. As I said, we had just exchanged the contents of our training programs. It would be great if you have an international approach also on this. my last slides, forming the digital twin ecosystem. And we are really happy not only having Korean members with Nest Field and LS Electric, we are also happy to be in the process to sign an MOU with Cosmo. Thanks to President Park, we're going to have a signing ceremony. We are just planning about it. COVID is also a little problem there, but I'm sure we're going to find a way to have a ceremony on signing this MOU. On this slide, you see the organizations we are closely collaborating and where we are multiplying the idea of AAS. So we were founded by Platform Industry 4.0, the German Machine Manufacturers Association, the Electrical Manufacturers Association, and the IT Association. We already have signed MOUs with the Digital Twin Consortium. We have MOU with Open Industry 4.0 Alliance, Alliance Industrie du Futur, the French initiative, and E-Class. As I said, we are really happy to be in the process with Cosmo, but also Catena X and Gaia X as the big initiatives in Germany and Europe for the data ecosystems for the automotive industry and for the general data safe, secure data ecosystem. Thank you for having us here. If you have any questions, please write it in the chat. Please get in contact with me. I was really happy, as I said, to be part of this forum this year, and I'm looking forward to see the progress in the future forums. Thank you very much.